Hi everyone, I hope y'all are doing well. Today I will be presenting the Hijazi Arab people group. I'll be talking about who they are and why I picked them to research, their worldview and culture, barriers that they may have to the gospel, as well as bridges that they have to the gospel, and then the 3D gospel. So first, who are the Hijazis and why did I pick them? Well, the Hijazi Arabs are a Muslim people group, and they are mostly Sunni Muslim, even though there are some sects of other types of Islam within the group. Most of them are Sunni Muslim. There are also over 11 million people in this particular group, and they predominantly live in Saudi Arabia, while there are some diaspora groups in places like Qatar, the UAE, and even the United States. Um, the Hijazi Arabs are also a frontier unreached people group, which makes them particularly interesting to me. And many are moving to North America. And actually, I'm going to be moving to a city in a couple of months that has a really big population of Hijazis. So I thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to do some research and see how I can communicate the gospel well to them by learning more about their culture. Okay, so next we have their worldview and culture. The Hijazis are very devoted to Islam. They are a collectivistic culture, so they're very family and community oriented. And they're also a high context culture. So they have a very implicit way of communicating and rely heavily on social cues, which can be very difficult for people outside of their culture to catch on to. So that's just something to keep in mind when communicating with them, especially when communicating the gospel. Okay, so next we have some barriers to the gospel that may present themselves. So for the Hijazi Arabs, following Jesus is very costly because they're so devoted to their faith, and because they're a collectivistic culture. It is just very costly to follow Christ. It would cost someone their life, and they would lose face, which is honestly just as bad as being killed in their culture. And they're also very antagonistic towards Christianity, and they're just difficult to reach geographically. Their entire legal system is based on Sharia law, so Christian teachings just aren't welcome, which makes them really difficult to reach the gospel. Okay, next we have bridges to the gospel. So while their devotion to Islam is something that serves as a barrier, it can also serve as a gateway for them to question and search out other ways of life, which we pray would be the way of Jesus. So yeah, the hopelessness of Islam we would pray would lead them to question and search and to find Christ. They also have some knowledge of Jesus. Jesus is mentioned in the Quran, but we want that to lead into them knowing him as Lord, just not as a prophet. There is also a lot of immigration of the Hijazi people group moving to America. And that gives us an opportunity to share with a frontier unreached people group, just where we are. Okay. And as it pertains to a 3D gospel, the Hijazi Arabs are part of an honor shame culture. So instead of a fear power model, or like what I'm from, a guilt innocence model being a Westerner, they place high value on honor and shame. So the cost of following Jesus includes shame on the believer, family, and community. And so for them, it's very important to know that forgiveness is not just Christ taking on our sin, but he's also taking on our shame. And that makes me think of Genesis 3:21, where God makes a sacrifice and clothes Adam and Eve, removing and hiding their shame through sacrifice. And that points to Christ's sacrifice for us in removing our shame and replacing it with the honor of being his children. And that's beautiful and touching for all of us, but it stands out even more to someone that is from a shame honor culture. So yeah, thank you so much. I hope you learned some. I know that I did, and I hope that y'all have a great summer. Bye.